Are you ready?
Live from the Metal Mayhem Studios in Rochester, New York.
We are gold.
And heard around the world by metalheads just like you. This is Metal Mayhem ROC.
Heavy metal music.
Your weekly dose of metal music, interviews, album reviews, news, and more. Want to be part of the show? Send us a message through our website, metalmayhemroc.com, or hit us up on Facebook and Twitter. Search Metal Mayhem ROC.
It's getting nice and heavy.
And now, welcome tonight's host, John the Vernomatic Verno.
Good afternoon, everybody. Happy Memorial Day to all out there. Thank the servicemen and women that have protected this great country in the past, present, and in the future. Much appreciated on this day. We are going live today with a special edition of Metal Mayhem ROC. We're going to talk about the Nashville Creature Fest that's happened this weekend. It's a hot topic. Just a fiasco. Let's get right into it. Let me welcome Metal Mayhem ROC correspondent Ian O'Rourke. Hey, Ian. Happy Memorial Day. How are you, man?
You too, brother. Glad to be here with you. And to second what you said, thank you to all the servicemen and women always, and keep the people that we've lost in your hearts forever, because they made the ultimate sacrifice. So
well said, my friend. So this weekend, like I said in the open, Creature Fest, what it was down in Nashville, it was a festival. They had Vinnie Vincent of KISS there, Ace Frehley, Criss was there as well, Bruce Kulick. They were there and they were celebrating, in air quotes, if you will, the Vinnie Vincent era. And going into the show, we tried to get some people that were there for a firsthand account. And with time constraints, this is a hot topic. A couple people appreciated the invite, but they wanted to get the word out on their own platforms first. So that being said, Ian and I have done some research. I'm sure you've seen some of the reports. It's really a fascinating train wreck of a weekend. And we're just here to discuss it, give you a little house cleaning, tell you about what's going on with, the Metal Mayhem ROC podcast. It's the summer, and we're all busy, but it's still a top priority. So Ian and I just wanted to check in. Ian, through research, what can you add to about what this Creature Fest is all about?
It sounds like it was a concocted, as you had said, special invite to get Vinnie Vincent. He's been a topic of conversation in regards to his relationship with KISS off and on for the last, several years because of the debacles he's had with some of his appearances. And, the thing that struck me the most, it was really awkward about the whole thing is him starting out with the doors closed before anybody had entered, before any of the other bands that were scheduled to play this event play the note. He starts getting up on stage and wanking off on the guitar. And as I said to you off, Mike, it didn't sound, it wasn't anything special. It's just him amplified, doing these stupid things. And, like you had mentioned, it sounded like a roadie doing a warm up. And that's basically what it was. It just sounded like crap. But everybody was so keyed on the fact that it was Vinnie Vincent. They all ran in, and when you look at the reports, people that have posted some of these videos, you can hear them making comments while these things are going on. So I really think that they fell on their face with this whole event. So that's, but we'll get into it a little bit more, I guess.
Well, let's get a little backstory. So this Creature Fest, again, these are all loose notes, and you'll find more details as you investigate this. It was down in a convention center in Nashville, and this was just announced maybe 2 or 3 months ago. So it was loosely put together, and what it was, again, Vinnie Vincent, Ace Frehley, part of his solo band, Bruce Kulick, Criss was there as well. They were to celebrate the Vinnie Vincent era. And this is the first bit of opinion that I have about Vinnie Vincent. Vinnie Vincent, he was in the band for a cup of coffee in the 80s, Lick It Up era. And then he hasn't done jack shit musically since. He had some success with the Vinnie Vincent Invasion, but after an album or two, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ian, that band broke up. The guys went ahead, Dana Strum and Mark Slaughter, and they formed Slaughter, so they even got rid of him. Why is Vinnie Vincent so relevant? Are KISStards that desperate? And I'm a Kiss fan, and I like that Vinnie Vincent stuff. I thought it was great, but does the guy carry that much clout to make the worthiness of this festival?
I can think of, Vern, is when you think about the anomaly that is Kiss, that larger than life, cartoon character-ish, Christ, they did their own comic book back in the 70s. The Ankh, PHAROH, whatever he was, and the Fox with Eric Carr were the only two additional characters from the original four characters. So I think that there's a certain mystique that he kind of carries that, you had to have a successor to Ace, and he stepped in, and he was somebody that was, different completely than what Ace was. Ace was, has always been a looser kind of, blues-based, old style, heavy rock guitar player. Then he kind of came in from, the other side. He was trying to bring some of that shredder, if you will, ideology into the band. So I think that just, you add that all together. And you're right. He had, minimal, the only other thing aside in the 90s was his contributions to the Revenge album as far as songwriting. But
yeah. And I remember back then we had tickets to the Creatures of the Night show. And me and Bill the Rager, another guy on our team, we went to the show and we thought that it was going to be Ace Frehley. Because remember, this was January of 83, obviously no internet, and Kiss was on life support. This was when they were trying to get back going. And we didn't even know that it wasn't Ace until they came out and we saw Vinnie Vincent. And again, he wasn't even around that long. So that's my take on the whole Vinnie Vincent thing. Now, according to KissCast Brazil, who has filed some reports online, this was the lineup. Like Ian said, Vinnie started. The doors were closed to the convention center stage, and he started shredding guitar. And then halfway through, they opened up, and there's some videos online you could go and seek out. People running in and positioning while Vinnie is up on a tank that's resembling the Creatures of the Night era stage set that Kiss ran with. No spotlight on him, very dimly lit, very eerie. And he did that for 30 minutes. Then they went into a version of I Love It Loud, and they were playing to backing tracks and just very, very odd. Did you happen to see that footage?
Yeah, and the thing that struck me the funniest was, as you pointed out, they're playing the backing tracks. You and I both witnessed Ace Frehley live opening for Alice Cooper last year in September, and Ace's band is top notch. Why wouldn't you take advantage of that rather than playing to a dumbed down freaking soundtrack behind you? First off. Second off, they had so many problems with getting the damn thing going. That I guess Ace was threatening at one point. He was started to walk off the stage, but they were able to get him to, convince him to come back out, and they finally got Deuce started again. But, like I said, you could hear on some of the videos that were there that were able to be captured, because that's the other thing. They were checking people for cell phones, and the security guards were slapping them out of people's hands because, for whatever reason, they had to keep this air of mystique. But still, some people got their phones in. Whatever, people smuggling, joints when they patch it down. So, who the fuck knows? But it's the whole thing baffles me, and I got to say, we had discussed this too. Bruce was the best fucking guitar player up there, and he probably was sitting there thinking, what am I doing? But, a buck's a buck, I guess.
Well, to circle back on the whole cell phone, it's not like they didn't let you bring them in. There was no pre-warning. It was once everything started and people took out their phones, started taping like they do now, the rent-a-cops went berserk and were, again, physically slapping them out, kicking people out of the show, and that's a mess. And also, I had this theory that maybe they're doing the backing tracks because of budget reasons. Maybe they didn't have money to pay the other, full bands. I don't know. And, Peter Criss was there as well, because earlier footage, they had Peter and Ace doing 2000 Man and another version of, there was some Hard Luck Woman, not at the nighttime event, but poolside stuff, and just very, very, very odd. What else did we find in research? Ian, anything else?
It just, we've had this discussion before too. When is it time for some of these people to hang it up? Because I'm a fan of Ace, you're a fan of Ace, most of our listeners are a fan of Ace, but Ace is not pulling the same kind of power as a player and as a singer specifically that he did, 10, 15, 20 years ago. He hasn't done anything consistent with his material, putting out stuff. I mean, Christ, the last two albums he did were, or two of the last three albums he did were a collection of cover songs.
Just to get product out there.
And, he's another one that was, he held his own to an extent, but his band is what's got him going. At least, and in comparison to when we saw him open for Alice Cooper, Alice is still Alice, as he always has been. He didn't miss a beat. He sounded like Alice. He still does the entire performance at his age. So it's not, and he's got an excellent band. So that just elevates him even bigger. Where Ace, the thing that is making him, or that is elevating him at all, is his band. It has nothing to do with him. And he does the same thing. He gets up on stage, and it reminds me of Ozzy Osbourne with that spastic walk back. Of all he does, he's playing a guitar, walking back and forth like he's going through the motion. If you don't want to be there, dude, don't be there.
I don't think he's going through the motions as much as, he's late 60s, early 70s. It's maybe it went to his head. He's Ace Frehley. And I'm not ripping on Ace. I love Ace. Me and Kale Jammer just bought some tickets to the Seneca, New York Ace show this weekend. I'm still filling his pockets. It'd be great if he released, like you said, new material, and here's a new single, and you're really trying to do it. But, how many times are you going to go to the well and just see the old stuff? And it, like you said, it's the band that's carrying those songs, that are duplicating it. Like you said, when we saw him open for Alice in Utica, New York in September, each one of those band members, one guy was doing Deuce, another guy did Detroit Rock City, and it sounded great. And Ace is there to, be Ace.
And the other thing that I forgot to mention, kudos to the bass player. He's in a Kiss cover band, and he got up there and did the singing for the performances that they had there, and played bass along with it. And he really sounded good, so I mean, that at least that positive light was there. But the whole thing was really, it's not the Kiss convention. They're doing this totally sidebar. They probably, because of all of the bullshit that's gone on with Vinnie, that's probably why they played Deuce and Cold Gin, because Ace was there as an invite. He's got writing credits and all that stuff to it, so they don't have to worry about all of that, bullshit from Gene, because Ace can do it. Where, I Love It Loud was the one song that he probably could, get away with. And Ace was technically involved with, the creation of that album, even though he was, a total, mess. So I don't know. It's just, I feel bad for, the KISS fans like you and I had discussed. I mean, they're loyal, they're fanatical. But I think that they kind of got a bum steak, with this whole thing. I don't think it was, I don't think it was as good as they advertised that they hoped it would be.
Yeah, and I also feel bad here. One last major point I want to make. The people, they did buy meet and greets. Now, I don't have all the details of what was involved in the meet and greets, but part of it did include autographs of some sort. And then at the last minute, we see online price listing for autographs for additional merchandise, and the price was just outrageous. Like $2,000 for him to sign a copy of KISSTORY, $500 for him to sign a baseball, $1,000 for him to sign maybe a pick guard from a guitar or a guitar. Just absolutely just crazy numbers. And Ian, there's a certain subsection of KISS fans. They would pay ridiculous amounts of money for stupid shit like that. But then again, why would Vinny leave the money on the table?
Well,
it's just
I don't know
amazing.
what they charged for the actual meet and greet, but I think it was rumored that the minimal cost on this farewell tour that KISS was doing was like $500 and up for an actual meet and greet with the band. And one of the, when it, and don't quote me on this, but I think somebody tried to equate it at one point in an article that it was relative to the COVID, restrictions and emergencies and stuff like that. And this, like I said, this was something I had read quite a while ago, but I can't imagine that they're going to try to be slighted, because that's that Vinnie Vincent ego is something that comes into play with everything that he does. He's an odd bird, man.
Yeah, very odd. Well, the recent video we've all probably seen KISS doing the sound check where Gene came in his bathrobe. I think it was in Chicago or something. I followed up on that. That was only $275. That was pretty intimate. The band playing for half an hour. They're answering questions. They're right there. That was the clip where they dug deep into the vault and was playing some, obscure songs that they don't play live and stuff. So, I don't know. They probably have different prices for different packages. But to pay that much money to, at one point recently, you were taking a picture of KISS was behind plexiglass and you're like in the foreground. Man, if that's the case, Photoshop me something. Well, if people are going to pay, then, who are them to turn away and not take the money?
But is that all goes towards like your merchandising monies. So they're making next to shit on, unless you're a huge band, which KISS, they're probably making a lot of money on the actual performance itself because of the ticket prices. But, usual and customary is the bands aren't making much of anything because of the overhead for the show. So everything else goes from merchandise, and those meet and greets is another way for them to subset some of that money. Most bands are usually a little bit more agreeable. It's something that's affordable to the fan. But when you get these giant bands, your Kisses, your Rushes, your Metallicas, Van Halen's, AC/DC, you name it, sky's the limit, because these are the biggest bands ever. And people will go out of their way to try to, get just a little bit of that, so.
Well, you know what? They're the ultimate whores. This is the last run around. And, that stage is expensive as hell. I don't know what to make that go off every night just through the roof. But so that was basically what Ian and I wanted to do a quick check-in, celebrate Memorial Day, hit the irons while they're hot with the Creature Fest
2022
debacle. Yeah, so Just want to remind everyone, metalmayhemroc.com, brand new website. Go there, check it out. There you can download past shows, see the beautiful Meet the Team page on there. Ian's there, Metal Walt, Bill the Rager. This Thursday, brand new episode, Metal Mayhem ROC, where we have Danny Ukes, NFT influencer. He's on telling us how the new craze NFTs have something to do with the metal world, and we have a vintage rock and roll photographer joining us. Ian, you want to throw anything in before we get out of here?
I encourage everybody, keep tabs on the page. Go back and check out some of the past episodes of the history of metal and some of the classic Vernomatic podcasts from years gone by now. Which it's been 3 years. Already. So it's time's flying by, but there's a lot of great stuff there. And, if you're into metal like we are, you'll definitely appreciate the page. So other than that, everybody have a great weekend and look forward to seeing you down the road.
All right, Ian, we'll talk to you soon, man. So for Ian O'Rourke, I'm the Vernomatic. This is Metal Mayhem ROC. We'll see you soon. And as always, keep it heavy.
Metal for life.
Thank you for listening to Metal Mayhem ROC. Check out our website at metalmayhemroc.com for information on podcasts, archives, links to all our live radio shows, and all sorts of info. Please like, follow, and share with everyone, even your non-metal friends. And always remember to keep it heavy.